You don't need permission. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't need permission for really anything in your life. You don't need permission to create and invent your own life's meaning. You don't. You don't need to seek anyone. Really, just to seek up the big G-O-D, the spiritual path. But putting that aside, you don't need your parents' permission or any of your friends' permission or anyone else's permission other than your own permission to create whatever life path that you'd like to make. Whatever you define as meaning in life, congrats, that's it. You found it. And it's not easy to find meaning in life and whatever your life's path is. And it takes a lot of introspection and a lot of extrospection, looking outside of yourself, inside of yourself, pause. But it is rewarding, and no one has to allow you to do it. You're allowed, just as you are right now. And sometimes sometimes a step back in your career can mean a step forward in your life. I put those air quotes up, step back in your career. To me, to be honest, that's brainwashing. That's brainwashing that's been kind of put on us. Whereas, how is it a step back if you're happier? Or your life is better, or you change something up and maybe it is worse for a little bit, but then you learn something. It's not career. What does career even mean anymore? It's like what you're doing in your work life. What are you doing in your life? Let's talk about your life and not your work life. Sometimes a step back in your career is a step forward in your life. I mean, look at ambition. Look at ambition. What's the definition of ambition? It's like a drive, right? It's a strong desire to achieve something. It's to do something. But when we think about ambition today, it's gotten convoluted with achievement of success, right? Achievement of climbing a ladder of some sort. But that's not what ambition means. Ambition means a strong drive and desire to do something. What if you just want to, and it's not even just, what if you want to paint? If you paint, then congrats, you're ambitious and you're achieving it. What if you want to, do music? What if you want to open a bakery, a pizza shop? I mean, that makes you ambitious too. It depends on how you look at the definition, right? If you want to kind of use what society defines as ambition, then go ahead. But you might find yourself lacking in certain other areas. That's the thing. And it's not all about climbing a ladder. Who made the ladder? Some of the times it's we don't even know what ladder we're climbing. Someone just put it in front of us and they say, good luck. And I know that's the case for me where, young, fresh-faced Steven right out of school, it's I come to New York out of college, lived here. My first 2 years, I was working on Wall Street. I was working in finance. I hated it. I liked the subject matter and everything, but I hated the culture. I hated, the types of people and situations it could put me into, and the obsessions people had with status and money and these things. It's not what I'm really about as a person, even though I like some of the subjects that I studied in school and the books I read, and the minds it exposes you to. There's some smart and interesting people in finance, but the culture is weird. But putting that aside, it's again, I found comedy. I fell in love with comedy and went, oh, I could do this. But that's where you go, oh, a step back. I found a job that I could do, that I could juggle while going out every night to do stand-up, when you have to do 2, 3 open mics a night just to start figuring out what you're doing. You're out till 1 a.m. Then you have to get up and go to work. If you're working an 80-hour-a-week job, it's not going to work. Neither of those things will work. So I had to take a step back, leave my finance job and start figuring out what I'm doing in comedy to keep exposing myself to it. But to me, it wasn't a step back. It was a step forward in finding myself and my meaning and purpose in life. And even my most recent iteration, now I'm just doing part-time work. I left the corporate world, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and now it's like I'm just really throwing myself into this and pushing myself as far as I can go with this intersection of comedy, content creation, everything. That could also be another quote-unquote step back in a career. But that's not really what it is. It's a step forward in finding yourself. To me, that's ambition. I'm being very ambitious with becoming myself. And to me, that's what it's about. I didn't ask anyone's permission for these things. It's maybe not something I was thinking about at the time, but I went ahead and just did them. Took a lot of struggle, internal thoughts, a lot of it. A lot of these things, it took me a year, 2 years, 3 years to plan and then decide to take the plunge or however you put it. But I didn't ask anyone's permission. I just went, I have to do this. So if there's something you really want to do in life and you want to explore, you should just do it. You'll learn more about yourself, The only way for you to find meaning in life is to seek it, right? And you have to find that path yourself. No one else is going to find it for you. And you can't be asking people, is it okay if I can do this or do that or those things? You really have to dive headfirst into things that you're attracted to. And some of them you'll really like, some of them you won't. And it's a weird walk. It's a weird walk. And it's not on any certain path that you're going to be on. But I feel like we're all, we could all be happier if we're really trying to focus on those things. What's bringing you happiness, joy, instead of those material things, money. It's important to live, for sure. Got to have an apartment, roof over your head, support for your family. But finding your motivation and what speaks to you in life, that's a journey you have to take. And don't ever ask anyone permission to find yourself. Just go do it. Remember, you don't have to ask permission.